Hey, friends. Welcome back to Glow Up and Grow Up, the podcast where we keep it real about life, growth, and everything in between. I'm Kaitlyn.
And I'm Stacey, and today we're diving into a topic we wish we'd have known sooner. And we're talking about wealth building and how life insurance, yes, life insurance can actually be a game changer in your wealth strategy.
Exactly. So, nobody taught us about this growing up. And once we learned about it, we were like, how did we never know about this? And how did we not know about it sooner? So, if you're ready to learn about how you can use life insurance to build wealth, protect your family, and set yourself on a tax free money growth journey, stay tuned. All right, so let's start with basics. First of all, you're going to see us using our notes on this one because we want to get this right for you guys. We want to provide you guys with some good information and make sure we're correct on it. But what exactly, how do you use life insurance as almost like your own mini bank account that's accruing interest and rising and not falling? It's called an IUL. If you've never heard of one, don't feel bad. I have never heard of one either, and it stands for Indexed Universal Life Insurance. Don't let the name scare you off because it's not your typical life insurance policy. It's not just a term policy that you just make money when you die. That's not what this is for. This is actually for your lifetime. Um, we're talking about a tool that not only protects your loved ones, but it actually grows your money.
Yeah, so an IUL is a hybrid. It's life insurance and a part of an investment vehicle. The money can grow tax deferred. That's the big thing. And the best part is it's tied to an index like the S&P 500. So your money has a potential to grow with a lot less risk than traditional investments like stocks, your 401k, etc.
And I feel like the big question is always, why didn't we hear about this sooner? If it was so great, why isn't everyone talking about it? And it's just not something people typically talk about. It's been around for decades, and it's been quietly changing the game for those who know about it because we took a deep dive into it when we heard about it. Stacey will tell you a little bit more about it. We have learned a lot through our own financial pitfalls. We ended up getting licensed in life insurance and annuities. And so we are here to talk about it with you, and help you make some financial decisions. If you want to have one-on-one conversations with us after, we would love to do that. Or, go to whoever you're already trusting with your life insurance or things like that. But we are just here to educate you today and kind of put your mind on something you might have not have heard about.
Yeah, and this isn't a scary way. We want to put it in a way you understand. I've been kind of festering this idea of helping women or men. I mean, we'll help men too, but our audience at this particular podcast is geared towards women, but men, of course, we love men too. But I created this thing called the Pink Money Program, and we're gonna dive into that this season. But the first one of the pieces of the Pink Money Program is an IUL. And what does it mean? How is it used? How can you get that? And you don't need a ton of money to do this, but I want to first tell you my testimony and my story of how we even ended up here and how we're both now licensed to do this. My father passed away in last year, and my parents lived with me, and my mom still lives with me. And they had his pension, his retirement. He had his Social Security, and she's on Social Security. So they were on a fixed income, but it was pretty good. They were taking in some good money. Well, when my father passed, one thing they don't tell you is when you're on Social Security, they and you're going to be a survivor benefits. They stop your Social Security. They stopped his Social Security. So my mom and his check was gone. And with the government, it took 3 months before she got another payment. 3 months, that's 90 days. And also when he died, the way his pension was set up is my mom lost his retirement as well. So my mom lost three sources of income overnight, and had, they were living, month to month, like most Americans are doing right now. And she lost all her income.
Including grieving, like on top of it all.
Yeah, and then of course, you have the loss of income, which is a huge stress, and then a loss of your spouse. And luckily, my mom lives with me, and I said, "Don't worry about it. Like, don't stress about it. Just think there are so many people that are going through this right now, that have a mortgage, that have a car payment, that have power bills, and they just lost all their money. And 3 months, there's nothing you can do. You have to wait the 3 months. That's just the process of the government with Social Security if you're living off that. And it was a huge eye opener for me. I don't have a husband, but a lot of us are like, oh, we'll have our Social Security check when we get older. And that's not enough. It's not enough. Like the Social Security, because you could go log into Social Security right now and you can project what your retirement will be based upon the age you take it. That payment that I'm supposed to get monthly when I retire is not even enough to cover my mortgage. So that was a huge eye opener for me. And I encourage all of you to go check what it's on track to be when you start doing planning your strategy for when you retire. But that was a huge wake up call. And I said, I need to do something. I didn't know what it was. Um, but I said, I need to do something. Now, fast forward, my mom now has her check, but it's much less. It's much less. Like 60% of her income is gone now. And so she's on a very, very strict budget. And I said, I do not want to be at home when I'm her age, working my whole life and enjoying my later years and not having money to go on a trip, not having money to just go to a nice dinner. I am not, and I refuse to not be in that position when I'm older. And right now, I am in my money making years and I have to be smart about not spending like I've done YOLO and go on this trip or do that. I need to put some of this money away and make the money work for me. So fast forward to where we are today, I got introduced to an IUL. And essentially what I'm doing now is I'm putting a significant amount of money away a month um, into myself that one, you can, after a few years, you can borrow if you need to from yourself, take out a loan on yourself and pay it back. Um, and I also have life insurance policy. So for God forbid something happened to me, I am not a burden to my family. My son knows exactly what to do now. He has enough money to cover everything and then some. If something happened to me, because you just don't know. So that's a good peace of mind for me that my family is covered. Because if I something happened to me, my son and mom could not stay here. They can't afford this house. So knowing now that I have that covered is a huge relief to me. So that's good. Secondly, now I'm putting money away, which is hard for me. I have been in survival mode most of my life, like many people. And to be disciplined with money is hard. It's hard. So I'm doing that now where I'm putting money away and that money is compounding and earning just like a credit card, but reverse because it's better. It's compounding from in my interest. And that when I'm older, I can start taking withdrawals and I'll have my Social Security and I'll be able to, you determine what age you want to start taking withdrawals so that every month I have money that I already put away that has been growing interest for the past, I'm going to be 50 now. So let's just say in 20 years, all that money I've been putting away is growing and growing and growing. And I can then live off that money and withdraw that money. And especially as business owners, you don't have a pension. You need something for yourself when you're in your money making years so that you aren't strapped when you're older. And that you account for inflation and all your expenses. It's always going to be more than you think you need. And also women, we live 5 years longer than men on average. So if you have a husband, statistically, you're going to outlive them, I mean, so you have to think about yourself and prepare. And that's why I feel now I did my will. I got my will done. That's done. In Vegas, we have a will you can get for $99 with the lawyer. So we can talk about that. And I just felt so strongly about I will not be in this position that I ended up getting licensed in life insurance. And and then I talked to Kaitlyn because Kaitlyn, I told her my story and she felt the same. She needs to get it together and get her retirement done and make sure her family's protected. And if something happened to her, and that she's protected as well. And so then we both got licensed and led us to where we are here is how do we educate women on financial education? Because let's face it, it's scary to talk about, and especially if you're struggling, um, just trying to pay your bills. You're like, I can't I can't save for retirement. I can barely pay my bills. There's a lot of people out there like this. But I'm telling you, if you do a little bit of discipline, you can cut corners and you can put at least a little bit away a month to at least protect your family, protect yourself, and work on building to get to a higher amount to save after, everyone has their own strategy that they need to do. But it's super important to me to now that I have the education, as I'm still learning too, to share this with all of you and to share this with my network of people. And if they want to hear about it, great. If they don't, that's great too. But um, I think it'd be a disservice for us now that we're educated, and we will continue to be educated on how to prepare. And now when I hear someone dies, because there seems like people in my age group are dying, like you hear someone 52 had a heart attack, 51. I've had several friends pass away, several. And I'm like, wow, I hope they were protected. Because when you're in your 40s, you don't really think you're going to die, but you do. People die every day and they're young. You growing old is a luxury. You're not guaranteed you're going to have. So you have to get prepared. And so we wanted to use this episode to talk about it and kind of introduce the concept. There's going to be more topics on this and lots more education, but this is the introduction to IUL, and that's kind of how we ended up here. And yeah, so that's kind of my testimony on it. Kaitlyn, I don't want to, if you want to talk about why you decided to do this, because it's hard. You got to study, you got to take a test, you got to learn. It's a commitment to get in this space, and something we've never done before.
Yeah, I think, like Stacey said, women do tend to live longer than men. And I have 4 stepkids and, married later in life. And I just didn't want my stepkids to ever feel like they have to take care of me. My husband's already 7 years older than me. Um, so the chances of me living without him, like, he has a great job, a great retirement fund, all of this stuff. But like, I didn't want to be the reason that that's not enough. I didn't want to be the reason, that his hard work barely is paying for both of us. Um, and again, I don't want my stepkids to ever feel like they have to take care of me. They have a mom and a dad that they will probably feel the need to take care of at some point in their time, and I hope that doesn't happen. But I don't need to be a third person on that. Um, and with that being said, not having kids is also scary of like, well, what if something does happen? What if I need to be in a nurse? Like, what if I can't work? Then what does happen to me? Like, I don't have a child to even step in and help. So that's also very scary, knowing that um, there could be a time in my life where I don't have anybody to help out. So I need to make sure that I have something to pay for something. If I need to be in a nursing home or in a little apartment by myself, like whatever it is, um, I want to make sure that I'm not a burden on anybody. Uh, in your hardest years of life, when you're older and you don't want to work anymore. Um, so I think that that is super important, and just working with a lot of business owners and a lot of women specifically, um, I think this is a great opportunity for us to. We've both had kind of negative experiences in the past with financial advisors or people or CPAs or whatever. And this kind of stuff sounded scary, and they come in and tell you need to put $3,000 down a month to get anywhere or whatever. And we both have our money jobs. This for us is more of like a labor of love and passion of like, we need to help people because it doesn't have to be scary.
Right. And you don't have to be wealthy to do this. Um, you have to be disciplined, and all of us can be disciplined if we choose to be disciplined. And so yeah, I'm super excited for myself to learn even more, but I'm even more excited to help people because my network of people, I'm around a lot of successful people, a lot of people that have homes, cars, everything. And you talk to them and they don't have a will, they don't have a life insurance policy for them and their spouse. And they don't have those things in place because they don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And then something does, and then the other person is left behind. So I can't, I, you know, I can't scream it enough of get prepared. It took me about a month to get everything done, to get my will done, to get my policies done. But my peace of mind is worth everything, right? Having peace of mind that your family's protected, that your spouse, your significant other, your partner is going to be okay if something may happen to you, and vice versa. You can't put a price on that, and it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. Um, I will tell you that IULs are the wealthy use them. The well, that so that's maybe why they get a bad with. But a lot of people put their money in their own IUL, and when they go buy a car, they borrow from their own IUL and then they replace it. Um, that's just there's so many tools that you can use with this product that I'm excited to like get into, and there's whole life policies, there's term policies, there's an IUL policy. It's a lot of new terms to a lot of new people. The other thing that is good about the IUL policies that we'll be writing is it has chronic illness, chronic disability, especially if you're a business owner. So you can actually, if something, let's say I had a terminal 4 cancer diagnosis, God forbid, I could access my policy while I'm living to help my expenses while I'm still living. That's huge. Let's say I get into a car accident and I'm disabled and I can't work anymore. I can access my policy now, not when I'm dead. Like, what that's great. I have a policy that when I pass on that there's money. But what happens in my life now when I'm living and I need to have assurances that I can still live in my house, because a lot of people get cancer and they have to empty their bank account to pay. And then what are you going to do? So not only is it for why you pass on, but while you're living, if something happens, you are protected. So I can't say it enough of you have to have protection for your family, for yourself, so that if anything happens, you are protected. And so that's why we wanted to share this with you guys, go down this journey. Of course, you can work with either of us. We can help, and there'll be, information on how to book a call with us. And it's very, it's not something that happens overnight. We have to dig into what your goals are. And, it's a process, but it's a process we're willing to do to help you. This is a passion for us. This is not our only, this is a great thing for us to help people and a great thing for you. But like I said, it's coming from passion of helping women get themselves prepared. Because I would love that when you're in your older years, you're like, thank goodness I set this up with Stacey or Kaitlyn, and that I am now set, that I don't have to worry. Or if something happens, you have your policy to protect you for anything.
It's about building a foundation too. For me, I'm not as worried about passing on. I don't have anybody, like, I don't have anything. I don't have anyone. Like, when I'm done, I'm done. I don't have, you know, I got married into a husband who already had the house, so that I when I'm done, that's it. So for me, that's not the life afterlife insurance is probably the least that I'm worried about. For me, a big thing is just as a business owner. I mean, looking into my 10 years in corporate, what my 401k was, with the market and falling and up and down, and then finding out recently, I just found out that, at my time at the company, they changed over 401ks and I wasn't in the new program long enough to receive I wasn't vested to receive my employer contribution. If I didn't know that until I was older, that's the 80% of my 401k was that. Um, so if I was banking on that and I didn't know, I was at the company for 10 years, why would I think that I wasn't able to access that money? But in my 401k sheet, it shows it and it shows it growing. Um, but, when I go in and ask how much to do all of this, and I wanted to see if I could take it out and transfer it into something else, but that money I'm only eligible to take out like 1/4 of it because I'm not vested properly. So there's a lot of things in 401ks and IRAs that I didn't know. I didn't know that they were taxed. I thought they were tax free, but they come out of your paycheck tax free in the beginning. But when you're collecting, you do pay tax on them. So you think you're going to get this number, but it's actually not. Um, So there's a lot that, a 401k is great, an IRA is great, but in addition to that, um, or separate from that, however you want to do your own plans, I think that it's important to have something like this that is growing tax free. When you pull it, you're putting into it with the money that you have already been taxed on. So when you pull money out, it is tax free. So whatever's in there is yours. Um, but what I loved about it was that I could borrow against myself. If something happened, if, you know, my business went down, if I was sick, if something happens, it's not this money that I put away that I can't touch until my 70s. It's if there was a need, I can touch it. And that for me was the biggest selling point, um, was that I can put money somewhere that it's also growing. Um, but if something happens, God forbid, I can touch it because that scares me, has always scared me that if I put it away in certain things, 401ks, that's it. I can't access that money for a very long time. Um, so for me, that was the biggest draw of an IUL was more of the it's there if I need it. If especially for business owners, single moms, um, it's there. You can start them for teenagers to buy a house one day. Like all of these things, they can, pull their down payment out from themselves to buy a house. Like really college, like really great things that are options that we can, explore and talk about that I wish I knew these things when I was 20 years younger. I wish I knew this at 16. If you start one of these policies at 16, imagine where you could be.
I immediately had my son, he's 22, start a policy. He's putting 150 a month. And by the time he's my age, he'll probably have $1 to $2 million value in cash that he could access if he wanted to. And it's just that little bit of money, right? That little bit of money he's putting away now. When I have grandkids, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open up an IUL for them, and I'm going to put 50 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever it is a month for them, so that when they are, like Kaitlyn just said, they're 18 or they're 25 and they want to buy a house or they want to go to college, it's better than a 529 plan. Because the 529, you just have to pay for school, but maybe they don't want to go to college. Maybe they want to do something else with their life. So it's like the IUL will give them the access to do that and to set them up for wealth. It's like it can change if you do it right. It can change generation wise with your lineage and making sure that they're set up. Because I didn't do a good enough job setting up my son. I think I did a great job setting him up for life and hard worker. Financially, I didn't really save for his school. I didn't do that. And a lot of it, I'm not beating myself up. I was just trying to survive, just trying to pay the bills. I was a single mom. So it is what it is. But looking back, I could have put 150 away a month. I could have made it work. I could have figured it out.
You think you need to save thousands.
Yeah, you don't.
Start wherever you can. Let it be a little stretch, but you got to start where you can, um, and go from there. Don't be afraid by the number. How many times, you go in to get a new car and it's $100 more a month and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. But 6 months down the line, you're comfortable again. It's a stretch for the first couple months, but then you're comfortable. But then that's your new normal. And if you started something like this for 50, 100, 150 a month, in 6 months, that's going to be your new normal. And then you can bump up to 200. And then 6 months from then, that's your new normal, and if you start young enough, man, you can really, really fund it. But I always worry too about I mean, you're in real estate, like, how the heck are my stepkids going to be able to buy houses one day?
Yeah. So the average payment in Las Vegas for new homes, and we're giving them great interest rates, but these kids are buying their first house and their mortgage is $3,000. That's the lowest. 28 for a townhome, 3,000, and that's at a 3.99 interest rate. So these kids are. My first mortgage, I think it was $800.
Mine was 12, and I
Yeah,
remember my mom being like, are you sure you can
yeah.
handle that huge
So
payment
these kids are doing 3,000, 3,000.
and the down payment on that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, down
So
payment on an $80,000 house is very different than a 350,000
yeah,
or a $500,000
correct.
house.
Yeah, the average. the average price right now in Vegas is almost 500,000. So you're looking at FHA through that's like $17,000 just for the down payment. So, it's just setting up your future, family too, with just a little bit of money. And all it is compounding interest. It's just it's just working for you while you sleep. And that's the kind of money you want. And then the other thing is, well, what about the stock market? What about the So the thing with the IULs is they have a floor ceiling where even if the stock market goes down, they have a floor where it'll still pay you 0.75%. So you will not lose. It has a ceiling, a floor. So it's not going to tank like your 401k. If you see your 401k going like this because the market's going crazy, this is a little more steady, and it has a floor in it. That's in the contract. And then it also, it could really, the average right now on the indexes we're doing says 10.84% annually that it's returning on your money. That's on a 20-year average. Now we can never guarantee those, but that's the 20-year average. So whole life policies, the average is like 3 to 4%, and they're more expensive. IUL policies, you're going to earn higher rate of return on average based upon the numbers. So your money will grow.
Yeah. And my favorite thing that I personally love as a business owner is that my income every month is not the same. I have great months, I have not great months. And as long as I'm hitting my minimum payment, which you make that where you're comfortable, I can choose to put more in. I can choose to to only put the minimum in. It's a flexible payment option, which I think is super important for, those years where you're like, "Oh, my husband just lost his job. Let's put that payment as low as it can go." Or, or borrow from it if you need to, but I think that it's important that there's a flexible payment. You're not glued to a number for the rest of your life that maybe might be scary in certain times. And I think that that's a beautiful thing about these is that you can tailor it into your budget and let it grow with you. Like when you're comfortable, bump that up. Like when you have a great month, if you're a business owner and you have a great month, throw in some extra money. Um, and I think that that's where the discipline comes in of like, instead of being like, yes, I had a really great month, let's go away for the weekend. Like, let's just put an extra, $500 in the account this month.
Your future self will thank you for it.
Yeah. And then you can go away when you're 70 and you don't have to worry about work.
Now so let's give an example. So you can start an IUL for $100 a month. Over the years, that money grows through the index. Like I just said, 10.34%. Um, this policy ensures you don't lose that money during those downtimes. So there's a safety net there. So that helps. Everyone's going to have a different level of what they want to start at. Also, if you do have a job loss or income loss, you can call them and reduce your monthly payment for a while. So there's that. So it is adjustable. I like to think of it as my mini pension fund that I actually don't mind sending my money in every month to it because it's for my future self. I see my future self on cruises. I see my future self, going to my TJ Maxx shopping spree. And it's like that's paying for my future self because I know my future self probably won't make as much money as I'm going to make in the next 10 years. So I need to make sure Stacey's future self is okay. And it's just a change of mindset for me. I've never been a saver. Never, 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 never.
No, we like nice things.
I like it's YOLO, right? And it's like, okay, you're 50. YOLO's not going to pay when you're 70.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think both of us for a long time, we were in our boss babe eras, which is great for, a part of time, or if that's where you're at right now, that's awesome. But I think there might have been a part of time where we both just figured, I'll do this forever.
Yeah. I'll always make money. I'll always make money. Yeah. Honestly, I don't want to retire. Like, I'm just putting that out there. Like, everyone's different. I enjoy
Right, but we
working.
want to slow down.
Yeah, but maybe not push it as hard as I have been. I always want to do something. I always want to work. So I never really took much into retirement per se about, oh, I'm always going to work. That's been my thing. But but maybe I can't. Maybe physically I couldn't. Maybe I'm just getting more realistic that, hey, there might be a chance you can't work. There might be a chance there might not be a job there. When you get older, people want younger people. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Right, and we both hustle a lot for work, like in real
Yeah,
estate and sales, and there might be come a time in our lives where we're like, "I just don't have the energy
yeah,
to do that." Like, maybe I'll go work at TJ Maxx for,
yeah,
you know, however much a couple times a week just to stay active, but we might not wanna hustle forever, and I
yeah.
think that we're learning that in real time is that the hustle is great, and while you have it, you do it and you push it as hard as you can, but, like, there's gonna come a point in life where you'd rather enjoy than hustle.
Correct. And I just am realizing now that, okay, yeah, I need to prepare, because I just always thought I would never retire, and I probably won't per se. I'd always be doing something, but I now realize that even if I do a little something, it's still not going to be enough money for me to live on, to live the life I'd like to live.
Right, and this is not necessarily about, you know, being on a strict budget and doing all the right things. We still we have set up our, accounts to still live life now. And for me, I'm still paying off some debt, so you don't have to be debt free to do this. Like, you can still be super focused in one area and just put a little bit aside, until you're ready to, transfer that debt money over into this, whatever it is. But it's about taking that control and just taking control of your finances and just starting the discipline so that it's not just all over the place. And then once you see that money growing in that account, you're like, "Oh shoot, this is kind of cool. Like, yeah, I should do this." And it's a lot easier to be like, you know what? Double that payment. Do whatever. And then just watch that account grow and see what can happen so you can have that nice life and not worry. So it's really about just taking control for yourself of like your finances and where you want to be.
Yeah, so I don't have a ton of debt, but I just want to share the story of one credit card I have. It's a Home Depot credit card. Okay. Love Home Depot. Just love Home Depot, and the credit card shows for it. And I bought a washer and dryer for Home Depot 3 years ago now. 3 years ago this month, actually. And I've been paying on this credit card every month, like 150, let's just say 176. I think that number's coming to my head. 176. Do you know, 3 years, that balance has not really gone down, because you know why? It's been all interest. That's a $7,000 credit card, okay? And I've just been pushing it to side. It's just on auto pay, right? Right. And I decided, I get a little statement and I go, "Oh, how much do I owe? I should have this thing almost paid off." No, no, it's still almost the same freaking balance. So I said, okay, okay, Stacey, enough of this Home Depot credit card. You've made money. You got to get this thing paid off. So by the end of this year, I am paying off that stupid little credit card. It's not little. $7,000 is actually a big amount of money. But I am not paying Home Depot interest anymore, because you know what I'm going to do? That little $176 that I've been paying, I'm going to put it back into my pension money, right? Because I'm going to put that in my IUL, and I'm going to up my payment, so that that compounding that's working against me is going to work for me in my own policy. So that's a little goal I have for the end of the year, is the Home Depot card is going bye-bye and into
I
my
love
IUL, because the
I love that.
compounding is going to work for me and not for Home Depot.
Well, yeah, I just sat down, we talked about this earlier, but looked at all my cards and came up with a plan, and my interest rates, I don't know if y'all listening have looked at your interest rates on your credit cards recently, but I mean, I remember when my dad was like, "Oh my gosh, they're 16%. That's so much." Well, they're 29% now,
29, yeah,
28%.
29%.
You are paying just under 30% more. Like, that is bananas. 30%?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, I mean, and that's part of all of our program and stuff is get that debt paid because 30% of what you have in debt, like, you are losing every year.
Yeah. So we'll be talking a lot about the Pink Money program, and Pink Money. Why? Because we love pink. Well, hello, pink, pink. She's in pink, pink, purple, whatever she's in. Okay. And, you know, it's because it's targeted towards women, because as women, a lot of women don't really educate themselves, or feel like it's scary, or the men handle it in their lives, and that's great and all, but you got to take control and understand your own finances as well. Even if you don't have a job, you're a stay-at-home mom. Stay-at-home mom's a very important job, and you still need to have control over the finances, even if you aren't a worker per se that earns money in the household. So we want you to take control, understand it, and know there's different ways to set you up, and we just want everyone to be successful. And if you're younger, even better, because you have more time per se on your hands than someone like me who is getting their act together when they're 50. Like I should have this big 401k, I should have all these things, but the reality is I was a single mom, I was a business owner. Those things take everything you have to get to survive. And I get it, uh, been there many a times, and no judgment. We're not here from a place of judgment. If you don't have a 401k, if you don't have a big savings account, cool, been there, done that. Like we have been there, we understand it, and we want to help you get on the right track for the future for yourselves.
Right. And when Stacey says like taking control, even if you're, a stay-at-home mom or any of that, like we don't mean like give me all the bills. I want to be in charge of the bill. We mean
Right.
like breaking those generational cycles, breaking the we don't talk about finances, um, taking control of your spending habits, or do you actually need to go and get that, third coffee of the day? Like those kinds of things. Like we can take control of our own lives and how we spend money. Um, it doesn't mean that you need to be the one doing the checkbook every day.
Right.
It just means you need to have conversations with your spouse, or if you're a single girl, with your girlfriends, of like, okay, is this a smart way to be spending? Is this, I don't have this. Should I be nervous about it? Like start those conversations, um, and take control in the way that like you're leading your money. Your money is not just flying away from you. You're telling your money what to do.
So if you want to know more about IULs, DM us the word secure, and we'll send you a no pressure session and free guide on how this works. And if you're really interested to go a little deeper, you can reach out to one of us, either one, and we can kind of walk through, have a little consulting session on, where you're at and what your goals are, and help you get started. Um, like I said before in our other episodes, people will find you. The people that need us will find us. We're not here to pressure people. We're not here to sell you on anything. We're here to provide a service with our education. And if you want to move forward with that service, we're going to guide you through that. If not, if it's not the right time, I've been there many a times where it wasn't the right time for me. Cool. When it is, you know where to find us. So, we're excited to start this journey with all of you, and meet you to where you are, and just provide education and service. And with our Pink Money program, I really think it's going to change lives and open up your eyes to little shifts in your behavior of discipline that can really change your life.
Yeah, we want you guys to know we've got your back. We are here to make sure that you have the resources you need, to have conversations you need to have, to just really be in control of your financial future. Like Stacey said, we have both been in positions where we couldn't start right now, and that is okay. We still want to have the conversation with you. Um, we don't care if you have all this money in the bank and you don't know what to do with it, or like you can barely pay your rent, but you need to start something. There is definitely a place for everyone. And we just want to make sure that you feel secure in your finances. This is something obviously we're really passionate about. It's not, the most funny episode or anything like that, but it is something that, we are really focused on and have worked through the negative side of to come out to here. So we just want to say thanks for hanging out with us today. And we will see you next week on Glow Up and Grow Up. Tuesday mornings, our episodes are out. Don't forget to share this with a friend who needs to hear it, and have those conversations. We will be hanging out in our Facebook group, and hopefully doing a live sale tonight or tomorrow, or a live sale. Listen to me, LuLaRoe, but
I'm like, what are we selling?
we'll be doing a live chat and answering some questions about this, um, to help you guys further. So we will look for information in the group about that. But we hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.